Modern Warfare 2. When MW2 released, it released to massive critical acclaim, both for its campaign and its multiplayer. Now it also included a co-op 2-player Spec Ops mode where players can be ranked for doing certain missions on a 3-star level. Some were either based on the campaign, while others had their own unique levels designed specifically for the game. But today, we're just going to stick to talking about the campaign and how I genuinely think it is a near-perfect campaign, not just in FPS games, but in gaming in general. When you first boot up the game, you're given a wonderful prequel to the first game. In case you haven't played it, we stopped a radical ultranationalist from detonating nukes after he had already detonated a nuke. Anyways, we stop him and, he kills our guy, we kill his guys, bada bing, bada boom. Now we're in the middle of the desert and, hey, is that Keith David? Anyways, our tutorial dude, Sergeant Foley, is leading us on how to shoot, which isn't too special. We also find out that we're Private James Allen and we're pretty new around here. So after the tutorial, Foley sends us down to a shoot house type situation where we hear Corporal Dunn, no relation to Ryan Dunn, tell us that we're doing this to see if we can be in a special unit that Shepard, the guy watching over us, is currently forming.
General Shepard wants to pull a shooter from our unit for some special op.
I do wonder what that special unit is about, though. But I'm sure it's fine.
You see how fast that was? Remember, switching to your pistol's always faster than reloading.
After shooting all the brown people like a good member of the US Army is trained to do, the game still wants to give us regular. And I don't even think it's possible to get recruit, but we choose recruit anyways because that's what we are. Now, the first mission really isn't anything special, and in fact, it's kind of inconsequential to the overall plot aside from Private Allen trying to prove himself in the field. The coolest part is the opening, with Shepard standing over you as it fades in, saying, "Get up, Private Allen! Rangers lead the way!" And you shoot a bunch of guys over the river and on the bridge. After that, we see a bridge vehicle that helps repair the bridge, and we run up to get into our Humvees, which, by the way, can I say how cool it is that everything in these games are named down to a vehicle you'll only see for a couple seconds before it disappears? It's kind of amazing. We also get to see the Rangers trying to figure out which building is going to be bombarded, which gives a more overall realistic tone to the game, and we also get hints at things to come.
Hey, isn't this danger close for the task force?
We drive down some tight corridors and we get hit with an RPG. Then we fight our way in and out of a school, and we learn that Allen was such a good noodle that Shepard's recruited him officially to a special unit. Yay! I'm sure nothing bad can ever come out of this. Now to juxtapose the pretty cool intro that we just played, we're now in an icy hellscape, just barely holding on to the cliffside. Our name? Gary Roach Sanderson, but we'll just call him Big G for now. You and Soap scale a mountain and almost die several times. The scene is actually pretty well done, and my hands genuinely got clammy as all I had to do was press left click and right click, but something about that made me feel like it was a life or death situation where if I pressed the wrong button, I was a goner, which is pretty amazing to have a game make me feel that just from the comfort of my own home. So we scale this mountain and come across a runaway and 2 guys. After we take them out, a snowstorm rolls in. But it's alright, because we have to stealth into this Russian military base anyways. We get a heartbeat sensor to see all the bad guys. Now, realistically, stealthing is only an option here, and going loud doesn't change anything in the outcome of this mission, but it is cool to stealth, so, why not do it, We get to the hangar where Soap is after planting all the distraction bombs and find something called the ACS module.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
We get caught by the Russians and explode the base before Soap is killed, killing the Russians. And then, it's a mad dash! Holy shit, get out of there! We're all gonna die! Snowmobiles! Jets! People shooting at us! Ah! We cross the runway, head down to a slope, kill 2 snowmobile soldiers, and ride down onto the ice, dodging trees, guns, enemies, and helicopters, only to go down a giant-ass mountain as Hans Zimmer's God-tier soundtrack is blasting in our ears. We just barely make it over the jump to the helicopter. Mission accomplished.
Get your ass on board. We're running on fumes here. Okay, they got the ACS. We're out of here.
С нами Бог. Remember, no Russian.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. Does this mission really need me to say anything? I mean, like, look, we all know what it is. We all know what it did for this series and for gaming, and we all know it by heart at this point. It's the reason why the game warns you at the beginning for sensitive content, and I think the only mistake this game does is making it available for you to skip this to avoid getting an A rating from the ESRB, which is a shame because it's an integral plot point, and I feel bad for anyone who skipped it because the entire damn game hinges on this moment. Now let me gush for a second about this scene. In Modern Warfare 1, you had the nuke scene. You got to play as your character slowly dying as you watch the world crumble around you. It was simple and impactful. But this scene right fucking here, this scene is amazing. It forces your hand to kill innocent civilians in a false flag attack. The entire goal is to make you feel something, whether that's joy, anger, disgust, anguish, etc. If it made you feel a powerful emotion towards what is happening, it did its job flawlessly. Looking back as a kid, I was ecstatic to kill these people, right? It's a game after all. These are just NPCs and pixels, but now that I'm older, replaying this scene genuinely just makes me feel sad. Looking at everyone we're ending as they crawl away, the cops who we killed trying to stop us, the people trying to administer CPR to wounded civilians, only to find us moving towards them. It's powerful, to say the least. It does its job insanely well, and the worst part, you didn't have to participate. The mission goes on as usual, without you killing a single civilian, but you didn't think about that, did you? You didn't think about what would happen if you killed these people. You had to stay true to the mission that you were given, and you did your job excellently. You sick fuck. Now, I could make a whole entire other video on why No Russian is genuinely amazing, but then it gets even better. As you board the ambulance to escape, Makarov kills you. He knew the entire time who you were, and he set this whole attack up as a false flag, which causes Russia to cry for war. An amazing level. Now, people might ask, well, why did they check the cameras? That's kind of a plot hole. And to that, I'll say that even if they did, Russia was literally praising an ultranationalist as a hero at the beginning of the game. If they were looking for any excuse to go to war with America, they would have found it no matter what. Now, Takedown is a rather kind of forgetful mission. Our goal is to track a man named Alejandro Rojas, who supplied Makarov with the guns and ammo to kill the civilians in Moscow. We know we're the only people who know that it was Makarov who did it, as Russia is still kind of pissed off at America and currently crying for war. Our goal is just to fight through favelas, and honestly, nothing special happens in this mission. This mission is one of the more annoying ones, though, as enemies are everywhere and you feel like they never end. And you're by yourself for most of it, as Meat and the other guy you're with just instantly die. And even if you save them, they're scripted to die eventually, which kind of sucks. The mission ends with Soap tackling Rojas through a window, WWE style, from the top rope.
He's gonna get away! No, he's not.
Watch out! Watch out! Watch out! Here's the cover!
However, what I love about this mission is the very end, when this scene occurs.
6, we've got the package. I repeat, we have got the package.
Coordinates to front. Bollocks, the skies are clear. Send the chopper now. Come on, get out their ass. We're on our own.
That's right. This little bit of dialogue is important to what happens next, but it's so missable your first and even second times, but it ties together the timeline of when this occurs in the story very nicely. And I also want to point out that in the first game, we lost intel as one of the bad guys killed himself because we couldn't shoot him non-lethally.
Drop it! You got nowhere to run! Drop it now! No!
But in this mission, it shows that Soap actually learned from his mistakes and did a non-lethal takedown to prevent losing intelligence this time around, which I thought was really neat.
Roach, take the shot! Over his leg! He's down.
Before I get to this mission, I want to put a warning here. That this game, from this point on, from the end of Act 1, is pure, unadulterated Kino, as they say. Nothing in this game comes close to the scenes after this, and while there are some more boring missions, the game right now has been building up like the top of a roller coaster. And what happens next is going to be the first exhilarating drop that never stops being exciting. I could talk about how this mission opens, but I'd rather just play the intro instead.
San Bravo, we're reading 70 bogeys in your sector. Please verify.
Very funny, Station. That's a big negative, over.
Yeah, might be a glitch in one of the ACS modules. San Bravo, be advised, running diagnostics to scan for malfunction.
The skies are clear, Station. You've got yourself some phantom dots. Over.
Zulu X-Ray 6, signs in your sector of some 100 bogeys. Please advise.
Negatory, Station. Scope is clear. I don't know what to tell you. Solar interference, heavy sunspot activity today.
Sierra Delta, we may have a minor ACS fault here. Do you have anything on your scope? Sierra Delta, repeat.
I'm looking at fighter jets over I-95! How the hell did they get through?
Stand by, attempting to contact the nearest unit in that sector.
I read you. This is 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. Sergeant Foley, acting commander of Hunter 2-1. Do you copy? Over.
All stations be advised. Satellite surveillance has been disabled. SOSUS and main laws arrays are inoperative at this time.
This mission sends chills down your spine, and while it is just a glorified reference to Red Dawn, it's amazing in its execution. Remember the ACS module that we were getting earlier? Well, turns out we were kind of too late, and now the Russians have a skeleton key to every air defense in America. Whoopsie. This mission opens as Hans Zimmer's score is once again blasting, and all you hear are the screams of other units panicked by the sudden Russian attack. And let me just say, that while playing as Special Forces and Task Force 141 is really cool, playing as regular Army Rangers is even better, because now we see what it's like to be a regular-ass Army Ranger. And while the Rangers are kind of just an excuse to put Keith David in the game as a celebrity cameo, they are an excellent addition. I loved playing as the US Army in Modern Warfare 1, but nothing does this better than Modern Warfare 2, which surpasses how Modern Warfare 1 did it. And while playing as the Delta Force in Modern Warfare 3 is very cool, I still feel like they should have been just regular, normal Army Rangers instead, because it destroyed any emotion that you feel towards these guys being Delta Force, because you know that they're badass, and at the end of the day, they're going to get the mission done. We see a BTR which forces us out of our car, and pause for a second. How did the Russians get land vehicles here so fast? Like, in the same day? I mean, okay, I know an AC-130 can fit 2 Abrams tanks, but like, officially there hasn't been any evidence that like airdropping in heavy land vehicles actually works and would make them not broken pieces of shit when they do land. So I mean, maybe it's realistic, and maybe the US Army has just yet to confirm whether they've actually done it in a combat scenario, but I mean, who knows? As we're going along at the beginning of this mission, one of my favorite lines in this game is said to really cement how hopeless the situation feels.
This is Hunter 2-1, requesting air support. Over.
Hunter 2-1, all air support is already engaged. Additional ground support is en route to your position, but has encountered heavy resistance. Over.
Roger that, Overlord. Be advised, we have encountered enemy armor and are proceeding on foot. Over.
Overlord copies all. Good luck. Out.
Sarge, did HQ just tell us to go F ourselves?
Pretty much, Corporal.
That's right. We're cut off from basically everything until we can get a foothold again, and nobody is here to help us but us. We make it to the nearest restaurant and defend it for a while. This mission really is just kind of a glorified defense mission, and then we have to defend the Burger Town and hear Foley yell at us 900 times. Afterwards, we get a Predator missile used by the Russians, and how is a Predator missile in English again? Perhaps they realized their mistakes in Modern Warfare 3 because Yuri is the only one who can pilot a Russian drone because it's in Russian, as Price says, and he can't read it.
Controls are gonna be in Russian. Yuri, you're up. Nikolai, what's Soap's condition?
We've got to get him out of here!
Yuri, clear a path to the chopper. We'll be right behind you.
So we defend the area, use predators and thermals, and eventually we get rescued by the convoy, and now it's time to go to Arcadia to extract an HVT and save some civilians.
Squad, we still got 2,000 cities in Arcadia. If you got a family there, it's your lucky day. We're gonna go save their lives.
Ramirez! You... Ramirez! Hostile! Ramirez! Ramirez!
Ramirez! Ramirez! Ramirez! Ramirez! Ramirez! We gotta get back!
In Hornets Nest, we finish interrogating Rojas, who, by the way, is right there, and I missed that like 90% of the times that I actually played this game, and I only found that out when I was watching a video trying to refresh myself on the missions in this game, and one of the videos pointed it out, and I thought it was really cool. We find out that America is kind of being bent over doggy style right now, so we call our extraction Nikolai to get us out. This mission is just another fight your way through the favela mission, but it's pretty neat. The ending where you run through as all the enemies are chasing and shooting at you is really cool. Also, did you know that you can get a unique cutscene parodying what happened earlier if you're behind Soap, which also doesn't happen if you're ahead of Soap, which is really cool. Another cool factoid is that there's a unique gun that is really hard to pick up here, and it's the only gun that you can actually get in this segment. But you need to be fast, so you need to know where it is, and it took me 3 times to try before I even got it, but eventually I did. We run through the rest of the favela getting shot at and extract by jumping onto the helicopter, and not a whole lot in this mission, but the action segment is still really cool. Exodus is a really cool mission. You're fighting through a Virginian suburb, and you have to use a laser pointer to mark targets for a striker APC to shoot at. The most annoying thing in this mission is Foley yelling at you every 5 seconds to do something, and it is awful.
Squad, protect the striker! Watch for footballs with RPGs! Get him off the streets! Squad, push the perfect fire on that house! We got hostiles in the yellow house! Get him off the streets!
The combat in the houses can also be tricky, especially on higher difficulties, because the enemies are everywhere, and I had multiple times where I felt like the enemies were just appearing out of thin air and meleeing me to death instantly before I could even react. Our goal is to fight and take out an anti-air battery with artillery. Also, there's apparently a hidden Juggernaut on this level, but I couldn't find him, so who the hell knows? Apparently he only spawns on Veteran, but on the left side in a very specific house, but I tried searching and I couldn't see him at all, so maybe it's just a rumor parodying the Spec Op that does have Juggernauts here. We take out the AA battery, and the mission changes to finding an HVT. We see a really cool set piece of a crashed plane into the HVT's house, and for some reason Sergeant Foley says there's no signs of struggle when there totally is. Also, we see one of Makarov's men from No Russian.
No sign of forced entry.
So a little side note here, I tried doing research to figure out who the hell this HVT is, and he seems like he's just kind of a good example of Chekhov's gun. He's mentioned, and we try to rescue him, but we never know why he was there, or who he was, or why he was even important to the point where Shepard wanted to change the mission at all, or why Makarov's men was even in the house, or who killed him. Maybe it was a leftover plot point, or maybe it's a signal to the player early that something is amiss with Shepard and Makarov, but I mean, who knows?
Interrogative. What exactly are we looking for? Over.
Sergeant Foley, this is General Shepard. Your objective is to extract a high-value individual from a panic room on the 2nd floor of that house.
Yes, sir.
He'll be expecting you. Challenge is Ice Pit. Countersign is Phoenix. Get him out of there. Report back to Overlord. Shepard out.
All right. You heard the man. 4677.
Let's go! Let's go! Go!
Ramirez! Use your laser designation. Ramirez, get that briefcase. What's left of it?
The only easy day was yesterday. It's a pretty cool mission. It starts on a submarine being ejected by a vehicle of some sort. Look, I was never in the Navy. I'm not a Marine, so I don't know what the names of all these vehicles are, okay? But, we see some fish and we hear some whales, so that's pretty cool. The goal of this mission is to take out sand batteries on these oil rigs so we can move in and secure another high-value target being held in a gulag. We stealth kill people, we breach rooms, and the breaching segments are actually really damn cool. I love how it slows down time so you can feel like a badass, and personally, I love using the pistol every single time that I get it, mainly because it makes you feel like you're Max Payne. But I don't really know why the Russian military have taken Russian civilians as hostage for collateral. I mean, I get it. If there's civilians there, the United States can't just bomb the oil rigs randomly, but it seems really dumb, honestly. Anyways, we do all that, we shoot down a helicopter, we rescue the civilians, and we secure the oil rig. Mission accomplished. Again, it's pretty short, but a really fun mission. Next up is the Gulag. Us with a team of little birds are securing an HVT from this Gulag, who apparently Makarov despises, but he can't find. This mission is insanely fun, but on higher difficulties is a huge bitch. The prison and shower segments specifically are just awful. We fight through doors and time locks, and one of my favorite scenes happens here. Something that would never happen in the newest Modern Warfare games, which is Ghost spends all of his time to open the wrong door.
We've hit a security door. Get it open.
I'm working on it. This hardware is ancient.
Ghost, you opened the wrong door.
Roger, stand by. Got it.
That's better. Let's go.
Why is that cool? Because it humanizes the hell out of Ghost. In a stressful situation, he thinks he has everything right, only to have it wrong, which would never happen in the newest Modern Warfare games because everyone is a flawless badass who can do no wrong. After that, Ghost finally opens the right door and we continue to the showers, using riot shields if you're playing on higher difficulties, of course. We hear that the HVT is on the other side of a wall and we breach it. We enter and get punched in the face, and also held at gunpoint, only to see that it's your boy Price. Wow! Soap gives him his M1911 back that Price slid to him at the end of Modern Warfare 1 to kill Zakhaev. One thing I also really like about this mission is it shows balance of power really well and makes it believable. Throughout the mission, the Gulag is continuously being bombarded, and a couple of times you even get hit or the bombs fall extremely close to you. Shepard tells you that the Navy is not in a talking mood right now, which shows that even though Shepard is leading this mission, there's people higher above him who are making these shot calls, and I just think that's really cool, and once again does a good job at humanizing the situation because Shepard isn't fully in control of the situation.
Shepard, get those fighters to cease firing immediately. That was too close.
I'll try to buy you some time. One man in a gulag doesn't mean much to the Navy at this point. The Navy isn't in a talking mood right now. Stand by. Bravo 6, they've agreed to stop firing for now. Keep going. I'll keep you posted. Out.
We get to an open section that shows sunlight, we shoot a flare, they drop a line, we hook up, and we go and escape just in time, which, by the way, would probably give us burns because those flames look really hot. Very fun mission. I like this one a lot. Wow, what an impactful wordless start. It's something that every American who's watched TV has seen, but has never really seen in action, so seeing it is really chilling. You start the mission looking around, hearing bombs. Where are we? Did we make it to Moscow already? Maybe if you aren't familiar with where we are from the intro, you'd still think we're in America, but where? maybe Virginia, I guess. That's where we were before. We see soldiers injured and hear bombs constantly going. Once again, as Hans Zimmer's amazing soundtrack begins to pick up and blare in the background, we decide to exit the safety of the bunker we're in and find out that, wait, is that the Washington Monument? As we pan out, the music just keeps increasing in volume and we see the extent of the fighting going on. We see the Capitol building in the distance as we see the fight to secure the Department of Commerce that we're currently going into. Chills down your spine, dude. One of the most impactful openings I've ever seen in a game, executed flawlessly. And after that, it's another fight in an urban environment. And let me just say that I love urban fighting in military games in general. I think it's great and it's interesting and keeps the settings varied rather than just having it be some empty fields and maybe a village or two. Some of my favorite segments in Modern Warfare 3 were the urban fights that took place in New York City. I really loved playing in those. Anyways, we fight in the buildings, we destroy some more SAM batteries, and we defend civilian extractions at the Washington Monument. We learn that we have a large force approaching our position and stay until the last possible second for a helicopter extraction on the roof. We defend the last of the civilian extractions, and Foley has the great idea to take down a SAM battery all by ourselves, which we do. And we get shot down. Oh yeah, I also want to mention, in this mission and several others in DC, there's legitimate radio chatter, about 15 to 30 minutes worth, that you never hear in the game unless you hover over some dead soldiers' bodies or a radio that you can find, which is just mwah, chef's kiss in terms of world building. I love when games do this. And there are also legitimate mini storylines that take place within the radio chatter, which I'll play a couple right now.
Wolverine 1-2, this is Wolverine 2 actual. Give me a sit rep. How far are you from 2-3's position? Over. 2 actual, 1-2. We're dodging by the Capitol building and taking heavy fire from the east. 2-3 is about 600 meters to the south of us. Over. 1-2, can you link up with 2-3 from where you are? Over. Negative! Negative! Great! Get a 240 jump to the right! Move! They're rolling us with a couple of platoons of TAs! Request broken arrow! Repeat! Broken arrow! Roger that. Solid copy on broken arrow. Major, spinning on. Out. Viper 3 actual. This is Viper actual. Give me a sit rep, over. Viper actual, this is 3 Bravo. Echo Marcia. 3 Bravo actual. Repeat. 3 Bravo actual is KIA. 3. We are down to 3 men. I repeat, we are down to 3 men. How copy, over. Solid copy, 3 Bravo. Be advised, I have Warhammer standing by. Switch to TAC Freak 179er and go to town, over. Roger that. Switch to 179er. Out. War Pig 2, this is War Pig 2-1. I have visual on enemy armor closing 12 clicks due north of the Washington Monument, supported by infantry, APCs, and attack heroes. How copy, over. Contract left! Contract left! Take a fire, 11 o'clock, mark your meters. 2-1 Alpha, 2-2 Alpha! One of War Pig's 2 Victors just took a hit! Repeat! One of War Pig's 2 Victors has been hit! War Pig 2, this is Wolverine 2! What's your status, over? Wolverine 2, this is War Pig 2-1. We are taking heavy fire along the Potomac. Break. 2-2, Echo's Victor is gone. They took a direct hit from the hip. Left side, left side! Contact left, contact left! 2-3! RPC, 2-3 o'clock!
We wake up, and we're in the helicopter fighting for our lives. If we're lucky, Foley gives us one last magazine before we're overrun, and it fades to white as an attack helicopter is bearing down on top of us. And that ends Act 2. It's a great act, and it only gets better from here, man.
Ramirez! Use some of this ordnance to take... Ramirez! Last man! Make it count!
Contingency opens Act 3. We're going to attack a nuclear sub to prevent it from launching its payload. Woo! Yay! One thing I love about this mission, it opens with Price telling Soap and Ghost that he's found you, implying that you blew off course and you weren't even supposed to be there. It's this little bit of missable storytelling that really makes this game great and believable in the world that it's trying to build around its story.
Roger that, Soap. I've found Roach. He appears to be intact. We're gonna head northwest to the sub-base. Over.
Copy that. The rest of the team landed near Ghost, pretty far to the east.
Now, after Price finds us, we follow him a little bit and we go up onto a highway because we need to meet up with Soap and Ghost. And holy shit, it's a PTR! Run, Price, run! After that little excursion, the nearby base is on complete alert, but it's fine because we do a fun stealth segment with dogs, and once again, stealth here is implied with heavy quotations, but it's not really necessary. We get to a hill and do a fun slide down into a nearby town connecting to the base. We fight our way through and into the base while using Predator missiles to cover our advance, which is really fun to do and kill a lot of enemies at once. You and Ghost take cover and defend the submarine from the incoming soldiers from a defensible position, because of course Price is in the submarine and he's got to play Hacker Man to disable the submarine. And after a while, one of the greatest scenes in this game, in my opinion, happens. That's right. Price launches a nuclear bomb towards the United States, and I love Ghost screaming, "Go black, we have a missile in the air," because it really cements the seriousness of the situation, and all while he's screaming to Price about what's happening, as if Price doesn't already know what he's doing. Next up is Second Son, and again, I know that I keep talking about the memorable openings, whether it's the cutscene intro or whether it's just the opening to the mission. But this one right here, once again, has a great opening. And we pick up where we last left off. We're fighting for our lives alongside Sergeant Foley in our last stand, only for it to once again fade to white. We see Houston talking to an astronaut on the ISS, asking him to view the nuke that is entering orbit. We look over just as it's cresting the horizon. We get told that there was no scheduled launch for today, only to be told to stand by, right as the nuclear bomb goes off. We see it EMP the entire eastern seaboard before hitting us dead on and causing the Kessler syndrome. Now, this might not be as scary as it sounds like, but imagine a world where there is so much space junk that anything in orbit from satellites to rockets are now an impossibility. We can no longer have satellites or any type of spacefaring things in orbit ever again, because there's now so much high-speed debris in orbit that anything that we send up there is just going to be shredded by high-speed objects. Personally, I think that's pretty damn scary to think about, man. But anyways, we cut back to Sergeant Foley as the EMP hits and everything, and I do mean everything, goes black. You can no longer use your red dots or your ACOG sights, and the objective is to run for your life. As everything from helicopters to planes are crashing down around you, you get the sense of the panic that is happening as everyone's screaming and has no idea what is happening. You take cover just as a plane crashes, and you and your squad are left to pick up the pieces and figure out what the hell just happened. As it begins to downpour, you come across a runner telling everyone to get to Whiskey Hotel, and this is just another example of world building. When given the code names to say and the response, the runner doesn't know them and just explains what he is and how he doesn't want to get shot by the squad, to which Foley responds the proper response to give him for others who might ask when he runs into them later, which again is fucking excellent. I can't get over how there's mistakes made in this game by the NPCs, and it just solidifies the humanity in these people and the desperate situation they're in, where they're too stressed to even remember what the hell a code phrase even is. You eventually fight your way through some offices, and the highlight of this mission for me is both the pitch darkness that makes you just feel empty. You want people to be allies. You want to just come across one friendly face after fighting through hundreds of Russians as it's downpouring and it's pitch black. You can't make out friend or foe. But one of the highlights for me in this mission is coming across a couple of Russians trapped in an APC, to which Foley just coldly implies that you leave them for dead inside as they're screaming for help, trying to get out.
What those guys inside?
Next, you come across a scene that it's pitch black and you can only make out silhouettes. And when you hover your crosshair over the people, it doesn't even show red or green to signify enemy or ally. And I really like that. Sergeant Foley screams the code phrase and he throws a flare, only to reveal that it's an ambush by the Russians. You fight through it and get to the presidential bunker. The real presidential bunker. On through to Whiskey Hotel.
Ramirez, take one.
Whiskey Hotel takes place right after Second Son, and Whiskey Hotel. White House. WH. Oh, I see. Okay. Your goal is to fight through the craters into the side of the White House to secure it, until you get the news that Hammer Down is in effect, aka every major building is going to be leveled in about 2 minutes.
Down! Get the door!
Down! Sarge, are you reading this?
That's where we gotta go! Now get the door!
So now, it's a mad dash to get to the rooftop, and again, Hans Zimmer's excellent score is blaring, and you need to make it to the roof on light green flares, fighting anyone in your way. You're fighting Russians. You have no idea what the hell is going. You're trying to push ahead. You have 2 minutes. The countdown starts, and you gotta go. And you make it just in time as you light the flares. The F-16s fly overhead and abort the mission. Oh man, this mission is so short, but it's sweet and it's so good. And let me just play the ending of this just for posterity's sake, because I don't think me explaining it does any justice to the overall scene.
Let's go!
30 seconds to
Get to the roof! Move! 30 seconds! We gotta get to the roof now! Go! Use your flares!
So, when we going to Moscow? Not soon enough, man. I know we're gonna burn it down when we get there.
When the time is right, Corporal. When the time is right.
Next up, once again, is another infamous mission, Loose Ends. It starts action-packed with an ambush. Roach and Ghost are trying to secure Makarov at his house and gather intel. This mission's pretty neat, mainly because every gun in the game is in Makarov's house, and you can really just pick and choose. After breaching a few rooms, you start to painfully download data. And hey, remember when 2 gigabytes of speed was considered fast? Fun times. After you survive waves that come in, you gotta run to extraction. You're blown away by an explosion and Ghost is dragging you. Everything seems hopeless until a little bird swoops in. Hey, it's Shepard. We did it, sir. We secured the DSM module and now we can go home. Thank you for saving us. Oh. I also like that compared to the remake they did, the subtitles in the original aren't subtitled. So you can actually miss Price yelling at Roach and Ghost to not trust Shepard, but it's already too late. We found Shepard's illicit lolly stash, and he's cleaning house before anyone can find out his tastes in Gargura. On to Enemy of My Enemy, which takes place roughly the same time as Loose Ends does. Basically, Shepard has a blank check and he's tying up loose ends and he's killing off his task force so he can end Makarov himself. I like this mission because it's 3 sides sandwiched between each other. Shadow Company versus Task Force 141 versus Makarov's men. I also really like Price talking to Makarov here. I think it humanizes Makarov as well as Price, where Makarov knows that any chance of victory he has is done if Shepard wins, because he will have the entire army of the United States bearing down on him and only him. So out of desperation, he tells Price where Shepard is and tells him to go to hell.
This is Price. Shepard's a war hero now. Got your operations playbook and he's got a blank check. you got on Shepard, and I'll take care of the rest. I know you can hear me on this channel, Malcolm. You and I both know you won't last a week. And neither will you. Mackerel, you ever hear the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
Christ, one day you're going to find that cuts both ways. Shepard is using Site Hotel Bravo. You know where it is. I'll see you now.
Looking forward to it. Give my regards to Zakaya if you get there first.
Also, rip my boy Rook. He was a real one, through and through.
The healthy human mind doesn't wake up in the morning thinking this is its last day on Earth. But I think that's a luxury, not a curse. To know you're close to the end is a kind of freedom. Good time to take inventory. Outgunned, outnumbered, out of our minds on a suicide mission. But the sand and rocks here, stained with thousands of years of warfare, they will remember us for this. Because out of all our vast array of nightmares, this is the one we choose for ourselves. We go forward like a breath exhaled from the earth, with vigor in our hearts and one goal in sight. We will kill him.
I'll wait for you at the exfil point. 3 hours. Don't bother. This was a one-way flight, mate. Then good luck, my friend. Slow order.
Finally, we come to the penultimate mission. Just like old times, everyone is our enemy, and if Shepard wins this fight, his truth becomes written, and ours becomes history. After all, history is written by the victor. We rappel down to Shepard's base and start our assault on it. It's a very fun cave fight, and alongside cliffsides too. Nothing too hard, but it can be a huge bitch with the amount of shield enemies that the game likes to throw at you here. What I like as well here is that while we're on Shepard's tail, he orders a danger close bombardment, which also kills some of his men, harkening back to the first mission about him not caring about danger close or his men too much.
Excalibur, this is Gold Eagle. Fire mission. Target package Romeo. Danger close.
That's within 100 meters of your position, sir.
That's not a suggestion. Send it.
Roger. Fire mission, danger close. Since when does Shepard care about danger close?
As we chase him down, we come across some boatsy boards, which we get on to chase the bastard down, which leads us on to Endgame.
This is for the record. History is written by the victor. History is filled with liars. If he lives and we die, his truth becomes written and ours is lost. Shepard will be a hero, because all you need to change the world is one good lie and a river of blood. He's about to complete the greatest trick a liar ever played on history. His truth will be the truth, but only if he lives and we die.
Endgame is just a boat chase, but damn, Hans Zimmer's score is once again blaring as we chase him down. Boats are flipping, helicopters are shooting, and we're being chased and are chasing. It culminates to Shepard getting on a helicopter, and when all hope is lost, Price pulls out a grenade launcher and hits the helicopter with a pro cross-map 360 noob tube, downing it. But unfortunately, we're too far gone and fall into the waters below. When we awaken, we come across Shepard's helicopter, and what I really like is you can actively see Shadow Company crawling away, and one even tries to shoot at us despite being out of ammo. We see Shepard fall out of the helicopter and run away, eventually catching up to him and, oh hey, it's Rust! Anyways, if we wait, we can get a little speech from him. We go for the kill and get absolutely fucking decimated by him. He gives a very impactful speech.
5 years ago, I lost 30,000 men in the blink of an eye. And the world just fucking watched. Tomorrow, There will be no shortage of volunteers, no shortage of patriots. I know you understand.
Harkening back to the days of Modern Warfare 1. And just as we're about to get deaded, Price runs in to save our lives. But wait! Shepard has the upper hand. Oh, stop it, Shepard! He didn't mean it! Oh, the humanity! And what I really like about this scene as well is it shows that despite Shepard's old age and Price's experience, one is just clearly better at physical combat than the other. And I really like that it's not a section of, oh, the good guy gets the upper hand and, you know, the bad guy suddenly makes a mistake and gets his arm broken. No. Price, despite everything we've been through, gets his ass pummeled by this fucking old geezer. But eventually, with all of our determination and willpower, we pull the knife from our chest and throw it at Shepard. Getting really lucky that it didn't just hit the handle and give him a black eye. And that's it. Price is dead. Shepard is dead. And we're bleeding out in the middle of nowhere. Well, GG everybody. Oh wait, he's alive! Yep. Price gets up and escorts us to the helicopter where we can lie low for a little bit. And that's it. Man, what a great game. This video turned out to be way longer than I expected, but I needed to gush about this to people after playing the whole series again recently. While I think Modern Warfare 1 and 3 are good games, I don't think they hold a candle to Modern Warfare 2 in terms of story, graphical fidelity, world building, and all the other shit that you can say that makes a good game great. MW2 for me still remains the king of FPS campaigns. And look, you can call me a COD baby all you want, but I have yet to play a single campaign that has impacted me the way Modern Warfare 2 has in all of my times playing video games, except maybe the original Half-Life. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend you play it, whether it's the original or it's the remastered. And in all of this gushing, and I have yet to touch on how insanely great the multiplayer was and how it still remains one of the best multiplayer CODs to date. Oh yeah, I also forgot the hidden level after you beat the game. The museum. Once you beat the game, you unlock a museum that contains quote-unquote wax figurines of everyone who does little animations from every chapter of the game. It's very cool. They have unique guns and just about every gun in the game is here. Except for a rare shotgun that apparently only sometimes spawns on this guy. Anyways, after looking around, there's a suspicious red button here that says do not press. So I'm gonna press it and holy shit! Ah!